Hello, and thank you for applying for this EB3 visa position, the McDonald's crew member in Charlotte, North Carolina. My name is Dara Laura. I am the Director of Talent Management with EB3.Work. And today I'm going to go over the whole process, hopefully answer all your questions, and outline the next steps. So let's begin. First, a little bit about the EB3 visa. EB stands for employment-based, and 3 is the category. It's also referred to as the green card. The EB3 is permanent residence. That means you can live and work in the U.S. as long as you want. You can renew your green card every 10 years, which is relatively easy. You can apply for citizenship after about 5 years, and we can assist with that as well. If you have family, if you're married, for example, or if you have children who are under the age of 21, they'll get permanent residence at the same time that you do. Program here at EB3.Work is for people that want to be permanent residents of the United States. In our program, we have employers who will do the paperwork for you, and that's called sponsoring. Sponsoring means that they'll apply for you to come work for them. The employer is paying their portion of the fees that they're required to pay, and you agree to pay for your portion of the immigration attorney fees and the government filing fees. So again, this program is for people that are looking for a way to become permanent residents and are able and willing to pay for their portion of the fees. So a lot of people ask us, can the employer pay my fees and I pay them back, or can I pay them when I get to the US and start working, or pay them with my salary when I get there? And unfortunately, the answer is no. The employers that we partner with, they're already sponsoring quite a bit of people. They're paying their portion of the fees that they're required to pay. And there's just a lot of paperwork involved by the employer. So if they were to pay your process and then you change your mind, or if you arrived to the United States and did not show up for work or pay them back, and they're right back where they started with that labor shortage and out that money. They will not get a refund. So our program is for people that want to be permanent residents of the United States and are able and willing to pay for their portion of the fees. Let's talk about the processing timelines. Right now, it's about 36 months or 3 years that the total process takes from the point that we file the PERM. That means that the immigration processing will be finished, and at that time, at the end of that 36 months, and then you'll receive your permanent residence. Then you'll either come to the United States to start work, or if you're already in the US, you'll do that adjustment of status, become a permanent resident and start work. And you're also agreeing to 1 year of work with your sponsor employer. The first step in the EB3 process is the PERM filing. This position has an expected PERM filing date of January. So in the coming new year, we would be filing for this position. For this crew member position at the McDonald's in Charlotte, North Carolina, you'll be taking, preparing, and fulfilling customer orders, assisting in assembling orders for dine-in and drive-through, stocking and cleaning of the kitchen and prep areas, preparing food. And you must be able to lift up to 30 pounds. Requirements for the job. There's no education requirement, no prior work experience requirement, but you must have strong English speaking proficiency. And what I mean by that is conversational English. You'll meet with our EB3.Work team in English. You'll also be doing an employer interview that will be conducted in English, as well as communicating with supervisors, teammates, and customers in the English language. The starting salary for this position is $22,080 a year. EB3 visa fees. Your total fee is $13,500 for our program, and this includes all of your EB3.Work consulting fees, immigration attorney fees, and government filing fees. Again, this is not something that can be paid by the employer or after you're approved or after you get to the United States. This is for people who are able and willing to pay for their portion of the fees. The first installment. So the first installment is due after you interview with the employer, which is the second step, and they select you. You'll receive and sign your offer letter. This could be early as next week, depending upon the position and when we can set up this interview for the McDonald's in Charlotte. So once we get your signed offer letter back, you'll get an account on EB3.Work. You'll get a username and password. You'll be able to check the status of your case anytime, 24/7. You also have a questionnaire to fill out with all the information we need for your filing, as well as a secure document upload section to make sure all your documentation is kept safe. And this is also where you'll see all your invoices or your installments. The second installment, this is due when your PERM is filed with the Department of Labor. And right now with this position, we're looking at January, end of January, coming into the new year. So once we prepare your PERM, we'll send it to you to review so that you can make sure everything is correct. We send you a copy of the filing along with the email from the Department of Labor with your case number. And then we also show you how to check the status of your PERM on the Department of Labor website as well. So the third installment. This is due when your PERM is approved by the Department of Labor. Since the PERM takes about 13 months, the third and fourth installments are due around the same time, which we project that to be early 2026. We have updated meetings where we meet you via Zoom to give you monthly updates on just the visa bulletin and status, and if there's been any changes with the timeline. We also record it if you're not able to attend. And this is our way of staying in touch since the PERM is one of the longest stretches. Like I said, the third and fourth installment happen around the same time. And this is due prior to your I-140 filing with USCIS, which again is going to be in that early 2026 timeframe. The fifth and final installment, this is due prior to your DS-260 if you're out of country or your adjustment of status if you're in the US. We project this to happen around summer of 2026, but it's a bit early for us to narrow that down. So you're agreeing to 1 year of work with our sponsoring employers, and this is important for several reasons. Our employers are going out of their way to make this process smooth for you, just doing everything that needs to be done to make sure that you get your green card approved. In addition, when you go to renew your green card, or if you apply for citizenship, the first thing that the immigration officer is going to look at is how long you stayed with your sponsoring employer. And if it was less than a year, that could be problematic for your application. One thing we like to point out is that you could get promoted into a higher paying position or receive raises within the first year, depending upon your performance. And it's something that our employers will share with you during the employer interview. If you're legally married with a government certificate, or if you have children that are under the age of 21, they'll receive residence at the same time that you do. There's a small filing fee for each application, and we try to keep the fees as reasonable as possible. We know this is a huge investment for you and your family, and we take that commitment very seriously. If your spouse or children want to work, they're able to work wherever they want, as well as start a business if they would choose. In terms of housing and transportation, we understand that everyone's in a little bit of a different situation. Some are married, some are single, some have kids, some don't. And as it gets closer to you arriving at your sponsored employer, we work with them to help you find affordable housing and transportation options. When you go to our webpage, you can check out our city guides. So when you come to the EB3.Work website, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see an option that says City Guides. And if you just click here, it gives you a comprehensive guide for each of the cities where we have a sponsored employer. And you'll see North Carolina, we do have other North Carolina McDonald's. Charlotte should be popping up here soon, so just be sure to keep checking back so that you can get that information regarding that location. And it just, like I said, gives you a lot of information, introduction, weather, neighborhoods, housing, schools, things like that. So when you check back on our website, look for it to say Charlotte, North Carolina, and then you can hop on there and check out all the location details that will be provided for you. So your resume, if you haven't already, please make sure that you have an updated resume with your application. What I mean by updated, just make sure that it's current and that it has your photo on it that is required. Make sure it includes your complete address as well as the country that you're in. And just make sure that it shows any relevant experience, no matter how long ago it was or how brief. If you've ever worked in a restaurant or fast food, they would love to see that. But if you don't have any prior experience, no worries, just send us that current resume with your photo and address, and we will be reaching out to schedule. Getting selected. So the second step in the EB3.Work process, the first step is your interview with our team. The second step is your employer interview, and this is a Zoom call, very similar to how you'll do your first interview with us. We just say, don't be nervous, be relaxed. They're really looking forward to meeting you. They have your resume and they just kind of want an opportunity to get to know you. So just speak clearly, smile, show positive energy, and be brief. But most importantly, be yourself. So EB3 visa, the next steps. So the first step is going to be your EB3.Work interview with our talent team, which we'll be scheduling once we receive that updated resume in your application. The second step will be the employer interview. If you're selected, you'll receive a job offer. You'll sign and return that job offer letter, and then you'll get access to your EB3.Work account where you have that 24-hour access to your case and also access to your invoices. After that, you'll pay your first installment. And then when we file your PERM, so for this position, it's going to be towards the end of January 2025. That's when you'll make your second installment. Your third and fourth installment will be around spring of 2026. And that's when we file your I-140. And then your adjustment of status, or your DS-260 consular processing, will be your fifth and final installment, which projected to be around summer of 2026. And then 36 months later, you'll receive your permanent residence card and you will start work. I thank you for joining me today just to get a brief overview of this EB3 visa position in Charlotte, North Carolina, the McDonald's crew member, and I look forward to meeting with you.